Alright guys, this is Mayo, just gonna go over my build of how I run my Guardian. I've used this build for 3 months. It's pretty much a good survivability build, but at the same time you have enough health, you have enough toughness, and you have enough damage to make a difference on the battlefield. So just to show you my gear, I have I have the Honor of the Waves set. Um, we have precision, toughness, condition damage. Uh, Precision is because I'm a fire crit build, um, and so the chance of me critting is 30%. I actually crit like probably every 2 out of every 3 hits, so sometimes it feels like it's more than that. The toughness keeps me alive, and the condition damage increases my fire damage and keeps it out for longer due to my traits. I have the Superior Rune of Sanctuary, which actually came with the default gear that you buy from the token vendor. I picked and kept this one because it gives me not only about 165 total vitality, but the retaliation for 4 seconds is beautiful. It helps a lot when you're in big fights. I use a greatsword as one of my main weapons, and I use a hammer as my second one. As you can see, my equipment, it's all condition, power, vitality, and the default stats are power, precision, critical damage, and really all of the jewelry has those same stats, with of course the exception of the cargo shell and the ascended ring, because I don't like doing fractals. But anyways, that's my gear. So that's what I have equipped on my character. If you go to your skills and traits, we'll go to the traits first. I run a 30-30-10. On my Zeal, I have Roman numeral 2, increases damage by 10%. You have 7, which increases damage in Greatsword by 5%. You have number 12, which Greatsword attacks heal you. For Radiance, you got number 4, when you're set on fire you gain Fury. Number 3, you burn nearby foes for 7 seconds when your health reaches 1/4. And you have number 5, when you apply burning to a foe, remove a condition. And this happens every 20 seconds. And for Valor, I picked number 5, I lose a condition every 10 seconds. So at the same time you can see this Purity and Searing Flames pretty much removes conditions from my character. As far as the skills that I use, you have your default 1 through 5. You know, your number 1 is your average attack. Your number 2 is your swirl, which pretty much is your biggest AoE damaging skill. Your number 3 is your leap of faith, which thrusts you at your opponent and puts blinding for 4 seconds. And this is actually, you can hit anyone in the 600 range. So if you land anyone in the area that's close to you, gets blinded for 4 seconds. You have your symbol of wrath, which you can put around you. It retaliates any damage in that area for about 1 second for 5 stacks, and it does about 7,000, maybe 10,000 damage over the duration of it being activated. And then finally you have your pull, which is you shoot out 5 blades that attach to the enemy if they're within the range, and you press the button again and it thrusts all your opponents directly on your location. So pretty much those are my first standard 5. You have your virtues. So your first virtue, you can use it with any skill, and keep in mind you can only have 1 virtue on. If you press another virtue button, it overwrites the previous one, so you have to be careful that you use them and wait for the effect of one to end before you activate the other. Otherwise you're wasting your virtue. So your F1 is pretty much your burn. Naturally you burn foes with your every 5th attack, and when you activate it you instantly burn your enemy with the next attack. As you can see, it's, you know, passively you're adding 600. When you actually press F1 you're applying, you know, 4,000 damage over the course of 6.5 seconds. Your F2 is your heal. This is great. Not only does it regenerate you over time passively, but when you activate it, it heals yourself and everyone around you. It's a pretty wide range. And this pretty much it's really great. I mean, it'll heal you mid-fight. You don't have to do anything. You just press F2. F3 is great. It grants you Aegis every 40 seconds naturally, which means you block an attack. And then when you activate it, you give Aegis immediately to yourself and anyone near you. The range is also as wide as F2 is, which is your heal. I use number 6 Shelter for my heal. It heals me for 5,000. It also gives me a block duration of 2 seconds, which I'm immune to damage. My number 7 is my Retreat. I get Aegis, which is a block, and Swiftness for 5 nearby allies. So for 20 seconds I can block the next attack, and I'm sped up for 20 seconds. For number 8 and your 9, you can really put in whatever skills that you want, whether you want it to be more DPS skills or you want it to be survivability by putting in skills that will give you stability, like hold your ground and skills like that. I personally like to use Sanctuary because not only do I gain 6 seconds of immune damage by being in my bubble, but it also provides a shelter for myself. But it also heals all my allies around me for 6 seconds for about 3,000 healing. And then I like to use my Judge's Intervention. This is a great skill. On impact, you burn your foe. For 4 seconds, you hit them for about 2,000 fire damage. It's a stun breaker, so if you have roots on you or you're immobilized, you target your nearest thing that you can around you and you press your Judge's Intervention. You will teleport out of that stun break. The range is 1200, which is the max range, so you can teleport pretty far out. And for your last skill, in PvE, I would use a wolf because it's really overpowered. It summons extra wolves and attacks you, but in World v World, what I would do is I would use my Renewed Focus, which pretty much makes me invulnerable and recharges my virtues. So keep in mind your virtues are your F1, your F2, your F3. So in combat, you'd make sure you use at least 2 of the 3 before you renew it, so you can reuse them again in a tough situation. Alrighty, now we get to the hammer. Your number 1, just like Greatsword, is your standard attack. Your number 2, it damages nearby foes with a mighty ground slam. You pretty much jump in the air. When you hit, you land. It just does AoE damage. Your number 3 is you shoot chains into the ground and they go in a vertical line and it immobilizes anyone in its path. It's pretty long. I'll show you how far it goes real quick. So it goes out and then it stops someone around there. And what that does, it immobilizes them for 2.5 seconds. And then number 4, you launch your powerful foe with a powerful smash. So you send them flying. Except the mode dies, it didn't work. And then, so keep it important, it's good to know that if you target an enemy and you use your number 3 to lock them in, you go up and use your number 5 to block them in the circle. They can't get out, use your number 2, you smash them, you bring them down a little bit, you want to add a little extra burn in there, and then you give it a second, you send them flying, bam. They flew, that was your number 4. Immobilize the 2 of them, and you're taking them out. You're fighting them, there you go. You got your 3 standard attacks going in. This guy will die in a second. So as you saw there, that was a good effective use of your skills. Use your number 2 as the entry. They're going to start getting away from you the second they see you're on their ass. You use your number 3, you immobilize them. Keep in mind you have to be facing a direction. And then while they're immobilized for 2.5 seconds, I use my number 5, which puts a circle around them that they can't escape. This locks them in for another 5 seconds. And then while I'm in there, I'll just apply my fire damage. I'll keep attacking them. I'll even switch to my Greatsword and use my Whirling for a higher DPS output with those 5 seconds that I have. And then by the time I can switch back, all these traits will be off a cooldown, and you can reuse them on them if they're still alive.